In this video, I'm going to show how I installed this fan right here. It's an outdoor rated fan, but they act the same way the installation as indoor. It comes with a remote, so there's a little cartridge that goes in there. It actually has a smart connection in there, so you have an app so you can control it. It's Alexa capable, but I'll go through all that. I also have some older footage of where I actually installed the brackets to hold it before this was completed. So I'll just put that at the end, kind of a little bit out of order, but just if you're here just to see how to install a fan, you can watch the beginning, and if you're interested to see how to install the brackets, you can check out the end. That's good for if you're remodeling. You can do it anew, but it's really if you're remodeling or you want to put a new fan in place. So start off, open up the box, just take a look. Most of these fans look the same. They always have these books in them, but usually don't need them, so I'm glad you can still throw that away. But generally, like I said, fan blades, bracket to hold it down. Some of them are surface mounted, so it's a little bit different. You get the motor and wire, and so I usually kind of go through, look at it just to see anything different or about the usual. And then maybe take a look at the manual. So like 3 and 4 here are just for covering up the wires. Everything else is what uses. It's really pretty simple, just for hanging the fan. So you can see there's a bracket that you can see, and it hangs onto that ball. I've got it mostly attached here, and then everything else just is for covering up the wires. And then that bottom part is what attaches to the fan. So really, you just need to attach that bracket right here, this to the bracket into the wall, or to your ceiling, and then just hang the fan. You don't want to put the blades on it yet. And this one has a remote control, and this is the sensor. It actually has Wi-Fi and everything, all these different parts. So this actually goes inside of that bracket, and it just one part wires to the fan, and you can see there it is. And then the other part goes into the wire, the line electricity. So this is what it looks like. This is where I'm installing it. Outdoor, indoor would be the same. Before you start doing anything, obviously you want to turn the electricity off. So you might be replacing a fan, and you have to take your old one out. This is a brand new install. So I already just have this plate here that I'm going to take off just to get to the wiring. Again, if you were redoing it, you would already have this, and you might have 2 wires. I just have one, just because everything's going to be remote. Sometimes there's 2 different wires, one for the light, one for the fan. And so here's just kind of give you an idea. So here's that main bracket that goes up and attaches to the ceiling, and that's what holds tight. You want to make sure this is tight, because any wobbling creates noise. So you can see once I tighten it down, the thing's not moving. And I actually show the bracket I use on the inside. So again, this is new wiring, so I'm going to strip it, and this is really, you need just 2 hands. I was trying to do it with one hand and record, and it didn't go well. Almost dropped the camera here. So I tried it again without trying to hold the camera. And I had a lot of grounds. So I had the ground coming in from the electricity, the ground to the box, the ground to the control unit. There's a ground that goes to the fan. So I actually use this Wago 5 wire connector. Everything else I just use regular nuts, but you can see how many grounds I needed here for this. So this is the best way, instead of trying to get 4 all together. And just save you showing you how to do wire nuts, but you just match up all the colors. You see that control unit is up top inside the bracket, and then everything else, there's plenty of room inside most of the time inside the dome, where you can store all the wires and just make sure they're not being pinched. And then everything gets covered up, attached, and then here you can see the motor. And I think I mentioned before, you don't want to put the fan blades on yet, just because it's kind of hard. This one only has 3 blades, but so it's not too bad. But if you had 4 of them, it's hard to try to hold it and get the thing balancing. I actually like this fan. It had these nylon washers that went underneath that should isolate any noise coming from that. So you can see I was just finishing up the 2, and then the third one goes on here. And here's what it looks like. Turned it on, tested it out. It was all pretty simple. Like most of these fans, you just, again, hang it on that bracket, and then put the blades on after you wire everything up. And it's usually not trying to, like the old ones where you actually had to wire and hold the fan in place. Most of them have a bracket now. And just a couple more shots just showing it. I have a pretty big area here. And then here's their app, in case you want to do that. It comes with a like I said, remote control, but you can use their app and you can control, and then I'll show you actually how it connects to Alexa. So you just give it a name, the usual kind of waiting for it to connect to Wi-Fi, connecting your Wi-Fi, and you connect to the fan's Wi-Fi, get it all set up, and then finally gets added in here. This was some weird thing where I had to add a picture, whatever. So you can see it has a breeze mode. This is like the default where it just kind of goes on and or it changes the speed a little bit, acts like a breeze. I probably won't use that. But it has the up and down mode, or summer mode where it's pushing the air down, winter mode just kind of normal. But you can control all that through the app, which is kind of useful. So you shouldn't have to do anything else up on the ladder or anything. I turned off that breeze mode, and then you can get the full speed, and it's just constant speed. And then here's where once I just hooked it up, Alexa found out about it, and then it just looks like just kind of as you expect, like the other app did, but just you're looking at it through Alexa. You can again change the summer winter mode. You can talk to Alexa like this, like say change the fan speed.
Okay.
And you see it change to 5, so it's just all pretty normal kind of things. Because I need to install a ceiling fan. Just zoom out here, you can see this is a 9 by about 11 foot ceiling. Even if you're doing this as an existing structure, you can take some of these tips as well. So what I normally do is they sell brackets that go in between here and here. I'll show you that. That you put it and you tighten it, especially with it in a new construction like this, where there's no drywall, existing drywall or anything. What you do is you put this, if this is new construction, so it's easy, but if it's a remodel, you cut your hole, and these are just small enough so that you put it up inside the hole this way, and then you put it between the joists, and then what you do is you just keep turning this square part, and what this does is it expands. You'll see. So I'm turning this, but if this one does not move, so what you're doing is, I'll take this off and I'll show you, is imagine this, I'll put it into the joist. This is going to be on one side of the joist, you're getting close to this one, and this thing turns independently, and as you turn, this expands out. So I'll put it up into the joist and kind of show you what it looks like. And so this is what it looks like once it's in. So again, you would have the hole here, and then you get up at an angle, get it up inside there, and then bring the other side up, and then you can put it up there, and then you have your hole still showing. And these little legs, they'll be sitting on whatever is your finished ceiling right here. This is not finished, so you can see that. So it'll just sit down there, it's pretty easy, and then you just start turning this clockwise. You actually get a wrench in here, whatever, and just turn it. And as you turn it, these little pieces dig into the wall, and you push this up into there, and this is just at the right height, so that this will be flush, I think it is, or it might be a little bit. It's like a little bit lower than the finished ceiling, or sorry, inside of it. And then what you can also do is it doesn't have to be in the middle. So wherever it is on here this way, so you pick the direction you want this way, and then wherever direction it is up to some close point, which should be just lined up for me. I should be able to actually use this. This will be over farther. We're gonna have a large fan on this. You can actually see it's actually bending the wood a little bit this way, so that's sufficient. That's not gonna hold anything, or not gonna move at all. You can see it's actually has a little bit of tension to it. So as long as I get this completely square, and that's ready. And I forgot to mention the other alternative to do, usually really just do it with lights, is when you have something where you're gonna hit directly on here, you have these little tiny things, these are like 1/2 inch or so, and you can mount them directly on there, because it gives you a nice support base. You don't get much or almost no wiring, but if you have a light base that has enough wiring on there, or enough area, you can put all the wiring up into there, so it's not as big of a deal. But it mentions that these are not ceiling fan rated, so I don't want to take a chance with that. It'd probably be okay.